Melissa, are you with us?
I am with you.
Great to see you. Please feel free to introduce yourself and kick off your presentation.
Yeah, thank you. My name is, hold on, I'm going to get my slides working here. My name is Melissa Trumpower. I am with the Better Business Bureau Institute for Marketplace Trust. For those of you who don't know what BBB is, it's a not-for-profit organization based in the United States and Canada that its mission is to focus on marketplace trust. And I am the executive director of the charitable foundation for the Better Business Bureau. And I want to share with you today some of the data that we've been collecting on scams in the United States and in Canada. And I'm going to start by talking about BBB Scam Tracker, which is our consumer reporting tool that allows people to report scams. And we use this, and this is some of the data I'll share with you today. It's a free interactive crowdsourced tool that allows consumers not just to report scams, but also to go online and search to find out if they're experiencing a scam in real time. And we use this data to create a lot of consumer education resources as well as research, and I'll share some of that with you today. Businesses and consumers are encouraged to report scams to this platform. Scam Tracker, basically it's also, as I mentioned, a consumer protection tool. We did do some surveying. People can go in and not just see the actual scam types that are happening and where they're happening. They can actually look at the narratives and see what's actually going on with each scam. And they can sort by scam type, and I'll talk about that in just a moment. We found that 60.5% of those who came to Scam Tracker were in fact looking to see if they were experiencing a scam. That's when I say a prevention tool, it means that they're not just reporting it, they're coming in to see what's going on. Is this something that's scammy or not? And 22.2% were able to avoid losing money, which is, you know, a small drop in the bucket compared to what's going on in the fraud world, we know. But it's a start. We estimate about 21 million people avoided, about $21 million in the United States and Canada was avoided. Money wasn't lost thanks to this tool. So we're looking, I will talk about this in a moment, we're looking to expand on this tool and improve it and looking for partners to help us with that. The stuff what I wanted to share with you all today is a little bit of some of the data that we're seeing in BBB Scam Tracker. Every year we put out an annual report of all of the full year of data. It comes out every March, and you can find it on our website if you're interested in data in the United States and Canada. And it essentially looks at a risk. We use a risk index to determine what are the riskiest scams facing consumers. And we look at 3 factors. So we're not looking at just the most prevalent scams. We have a tool that basically measures 3 different things: exposure, which is the prevalence of a scam type; susceptibility, which means how likely is a person gonna be in terms of losing money if they're approached by a scam. Do they lose money or do they not lose money? And then the 3rd factor is the monetary loss. How much money are they losing to a particular scam type? And this allows us to get a much more robust understanding of what's actually risky for consumers. And as you can see, this is from the 2020 risk report, and it looked at all of the research reports from last year. And I just wanted to point out that this is very much following along all the other presentations. Online purchase scams continue to rise following COVID-19. They continue to rise, and as you can see, one of the roles of the Institute is that we're breaking out our data in many different ways to get an understanding of how we can be more effective with our consumer education efforts. And so we break it out by age, we break it out by region, and so forth. And as you can see here, we've broken out the research by age group, and online purchase scams was the riskiest scam for ages between 18 and 54. And it was the 2nd riskiest for older consumers. So it is something that, not surprisingly, continues to rise because people were stuck at home doing their shopping online most of last year. The other one I wanted to point out is employment scams. Job scams were mentioned earlier as well. In terms of the United States and Canada, we saw an increase of those because people were losing their jobs when the economy took a beating because of COVID. When they lost their jobs, they were trying to find stay-at-home jobs, and then they were seeking those jobs online, right? And scammers knew that. Scammers were taking advantage of offering these perfect job opportunities for consumers, and they were jumping on it. So we saw a huge rise in employment scams as well. The one thing that we followed up on last year and again this year, and I'll share a little bit of data, and all of this is available for free on our website after I'm done presenting, but we did dive in last year on the online purchase scam landscape just to get a better understanding of it. And we did a follow-up research report that was just released about 3 weeks ago as an update to what's actually happening in the United States and Canada in terms of online purchase scams. And it continues to rise. 35%, more than a third of all of the scams being submitted are online purchase scams. And when I say online purchase scams, I don't mean online scams, I mean shopping scams, essentially. People are going online and making purchases and they're not receiving what they're supposed to receive, or they're having their identity stolen or whatever. But it's the scariest part of that is 75% of those targets are actually losing money. So it's a very risky scam, and they continue to rise. So a few interesting tidbits from this. I won't go into a lot of the research, but we've noticed in our research over the last 5 or 6 years that younger consumers typically lose money more often, but older consumers typically lose more money because of the types of scams that they're involved with. So for example, older consumers are often more involved with romance scams and investment scams, and the loss of each of those scams is higher. What we found in this most recent report, as well as in our risk report, is that not only are younger people now losing money more often, they're actually losing more money. So that's something that's happened since COVID that we're starting to see in our data, is that the risk has risen with those younger age groups. And so one of the goals that we are setting is to try to understand how to better educate younger people, how to use the right messaging for them that will resonate, how to find them on the right channels and so forth. So that's a big goal for our organization right now. The research report that we most recently put out looked at essentially trying to understand the online behavior, and where are the things that we can help to educate people on where to be more careful, things that they need to understand. We looked at websites, we looked at searching online, social media, obviously, customer reviews, and online payment systems. And not surprisingly, one of the key messaging points for consumers that we're trying to get out there is just because you're browsing on Facebook and not searching for a product doesn't mean you're safe. You can see here 56% of people lost money and they weren't even searching for a product, right? So we need to make a better effort to get out there and say, listen, when you're on social media, even if you're not looking for something, it doesn't mean you're not at risk. You are. The other big finding here is, if a lot of consumers think if they do an online search and they're specifically being actively searching, that those search results will be safe. They're not safe either. Scammers are learning how to be pulled into those online searches. So we saw a lot of people losing money as well. So that's just one other thing we noticed. Online payment systems, we all know that we had tried to tell consumers not to use gift cards, don't wire money, don't use debit cards, don't use any payment method where you can't get your money back, right? Well, we found with online payment systems, there's a rise in the use of these online payment systems. And some of them provide protections and others don't, right? And so we found that, for example, you can see PayPal, there was a lot of scams reported, but like the amount being lost was much less because people were recovering their money. And that's not happening with a lot of the other ones that we saw. So the message here is we need to also tell consumers, be careful which online payment systems you're using. They're very upfront about it. Some of them do not provide protections, and if you send it to a scammer, you will not get your money back. And that's very clear in the data that we're seeing. This isn't surprising here. This is just another finding that we found in our research. Obviously, sales price was the top motivating factor for people. who made an online purchase and then proceeded to lose money. And so that as we go into the holiday season, that's, again, as you know, that's going to be a big tactic for scammers. But I also wanted to point out images on the website. George mentioned puppy scams. Images are used for the puppy scams, right? Like, so it just depends on which type of scam really plays out here, but images is a critical piece of trying to get those puppies out there and all those photos. And then the availability of items. We saw that after COVID with masks and cleaning products and all that. So just a little insight into what we're seeing in our research. One other thing in terms of here, we did ask people what factors they were considering before they made the online purchase. You can see here that everything listed, essentially, the people who didn't lose money, you know, there was a bigger percentage for having contact information on the site, visible return policies, our accreditation seal, using simple language. The only factor here that there were more people that lost money around were positive customer reviews. And I wanted to point that out there because we also tested in our survey research and asked people to identify fake versus real customer reviews. And no matter if they lost money or not, we found that people couldn't tell the difference. Okay, that's another key message that we're putting out there is it's really difficult to understand what's a real customer review versus a fake one. And so to be very, very careful when making those decisions, that shouldn't be the only factor that you consider before making an online purchase, because it's just too difficult to really tell the difference. A couple more things and then I'll end because I know I have limited time. Just a reminder for everyone that risk rises during the holidays. We see an increase in scam reports and we see an increase in scammer activity. It's a perfect opportunity, right, for scammers. There's more people online shopping. And so we're boosting our efforts to get more messaging out right now as people get prepared to do their shopping. And I know they've already started. So just that's one thing I urge everyone who's doing this work to just get out there now. And then again, we're looking for partners as well. We're seeking to expand our impact. We're looking for research partners, content partners. We're actually expanding Scam Tracker starting next year. We have some big partners that are coming in to help us expand the impact of the tool. So welcome anybody that wants to be a part of that and give us advice on how we can do better. And then I just wanted to stop and just say there's a ton of research on our website. We've been putting research reports out, at least three a year for several years. And you can find that at our website, themarketplacetrust.org. And if you'd like to reach out to me at any time, would be happy to talk about any of this and answer any questions you have.
Super. Thank you very much, Melissa. Excellent presentation.